123.407.
There is always more time to be found, but Adam is not guaranteed to find it.
Adam just posted a 124.180 crossing start finish.
Adam is not giving up and will be looking for every 10th.
Simon of the Desert has a best lap time of 128.430. Simon of the Desert posted 128.430 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time. With just 91 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Sketty has a best lap time of 125.615. Sketty has a best lap time of 125.615. Adam posted 123.816 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
There are just over 90 minutes left in this practice session. With just 90 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations.
There is always more time to be found, but Simon is not guaranteed to find it.
Simon of the Desert has a best lap time of 128.430. Kevin Legmansky has a best lap time of 125.992.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
Kevin Legmansky posted 125.992 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
With just 88 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations.
There is always more time to be found, but Adam is not guaranteed to find it.
Sketty just posted a 125.466 crossing start finish.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
The anticipation is high as the drivers line up for the qualifying session at Goodwood.
We're about to witness some serious heart as they battle it out for a chance at the front of the starting grid.
You can feel the tension building. Kevin Legmansky is out on track and getting ready to push for his qualifying time. Kevin Lekmansky is looking relatively composed going through Ford water.
Don't forget to check out the views near Fordwater. They are fantastic.
That ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R looks good driving through Levant.
The action and glory drivers have lived here at Levant is truly historic.
The adrenaline is pumping. Adam is on his out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. Adam is keeping his head down through Levant Straight.
Fans sitting near Levant Straight get some of the best views of the action.
Adam has completed his outlap. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Kevin Lekmansky is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run and get everything just right. Kevin Lekmansky is driving through Street Marys.
This is such a great track. I need to make it back here more often.
Kevin Lekmansky is working his way through Levant Straight.
There's a great spot near here to kick back with a cold drink and enjoy the beauty of it all.
Simon of the Desert is on his out lap.
This is the moment he's been preparing for. Let's see if he can execute.
Simon of the Desert is expertly commanding that car through Levant Straight.
This track has many great straights and corners, but this one is especially good.
The pressure is on in this That's the outlap done for Kevin Lekmansky. He'll now look to focus on his first flying lap. Adam is on his first flying lap.
Absolutely. Adam is showing the world what he's made of.
Kevin Lekmansky will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Adam is nailing both. That ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R looks good driving through Levant Straight.
If Adam listens closely, the sounds of cheering fans should just barely be audible over the roar of the engine.
There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Kevin Lekmansky has just completed that lap in 1:25.967, which is 2.816 off the best time, putting him in P3. It's clear that David Zahn is pushing his car to the very edge of traction on this qualifying lap. David Zahn just clocked a 1:26.927, 3.776 off of P1 and good enough for P4. Let's see if he can improve on that time further. Adam is currently up 0.17 going through Levant.
All we can do now is wish Adam luck as the start-finish line approaches.
Kevin Lekmansky is now up 0.24. Kevin Lekmansky is in the green by 0.17, making his way through Woodcote. Kevin Lekmansky will be happy with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 2.073 gap to pole.
Simon of the Desert is now up 2.14 in Woodcote.
The rest of this lap is no cakewalk. Let's hope he can keep it up.
Simon of the Desert will be happy with a time good enough for fourth in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 3.623, but that won't stop him from trying.
Kevin Lekmansky has improved by 0.27. Kevin Lekmansky is driving through Levant Straight and is up 0.28.
If Lekmansky gets greedy, this delta could go from green to red in the blink of an eye.
Kevin Lekmansky will be happy with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 2.073 gap to pole.
It looks like Sketty is getting ready to make his move. He's taking his time to warm up those tires and get everything just right.
He'll want to get a good gap established for the flying lap.
Sketty will be happy with a time good enough for second in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 1.39, but that won't stop him from trying.
David Zahn is keeping his head down through Ford Water.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
David Zahn will be happy with a time good enough for fifth in this qualifying session. Simon of the Desert is in the green by 0.17. Simon of the Desert is looking relatively composed going through Street Marys. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Simon of the Desert is working his way through Levant Straight. Simon of the Desert will be happy with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 2.042 gap to pole.
Adam is expertly commanding that car through Woodcote.
When I get some free time after the race, I'm going to park my pudding near Woodcote with a nice drink and some friends.
Adam is currently on provisional pole with a time of 1:22.998. Kevin Lekmansky is up 0.25. Kevin Lekmansky has improved by 0.27 up through Levant Straight. Kevin Lekmansky will be happy, with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session. David Zahn is now up 0.2. That ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R looks good driving through Woodcote.
The ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R is indeed a sweet-ass looking ride.
David Zahn will be happy, with a time good enough for fifth in this qualifying session. Simon of the Desert has found an extra 0.15. Simon of the Desert is keeping his head down through Street Marys.
I have always loved this section of the track.
David Zahn is looking relatively composed going through Street Marys. David Zahn is driving through Levant Straight.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Simon of the Desert has improved by 0. Simon of the Desert will be happy, with a time good enough for fourth in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 1.947, but that won't stop him from trying.
David Zahn will be happy, with a time good enough for fifth in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 3.272 gap to pole.
David Zahn appears focused and prepared driving through Ford water.
Fuel, fumes, fans, and fights. FORDWATER has it all.
David Zahn is not able to keep his pace consistent, so far 2.43 seconds down through Levant.
Zahn is likely taking a deep breath to try and refocus his efforts.
It seems like David Zahn is struggling, currently 7.94 off his best pace up through Woodcote.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
A strong showing from Kevin Lekmansky as he's currently in third. With the session drawing to a close, he'll need to dig deep and find that extra burst of speed to improve. A solid qualifying performance by David Zahn, positioned in fifth. The question now is whether he can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners. Kevin Lekmansky has put in a great effort and currently holds third. With the session winding down, time is running out to unleash his full potential for a better starting position. Currently in fifth, David Zahn has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether he can convert this performance into a higher grid position. Impressive display by Kevin Lekmansky, currently sitting in P3. He's set a competitive time, but the question remains whether he can push even harder to secure a better starting position. Kevin Lekmansky is down 3.48 seconds on the way through Levant. Kevin Lekmansky is expertly commanding that car through Woodcote. Kevin Lekmansky will be happy, with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 1.945, but that won't stop him from trying.
There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at Goodwood, as we're getting ready to get things underway. Kevin Lekmansky will be feeling confident starting from pole position.
It's also a nightmare if he can't hold onto it. Let's see how he will handle the pressure.
Starting on the front row is a great opportunity for Adam to challenge for the lead.
He will have to be smart about his moves. He must not burn out too early.
Lining up in third is Shelby.
Starting from here, Shelby may already have expectations of a podium finish.
On the fourth grid slot we have David Zahn.
It's like he's on the outside looking in, close enough to see the front without actually being there.
Watch out for Simon of the Desert, starting from the fifth grid position in today's race.
Putting that ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R into prime position for the race.
flag drops, and the race is underway. Drivers now face the challenge of avoiding first lap calamities.
Avoiding contact while trying to gain position is essential. The first lap is often where we see incidents that can change the course of the race.
Kevin Lekmansky will be studying the nearby drivers and looking for anything that could give them an advantage. The pressure is on when the field is this tightly packed. Maintaining just enough aggression to hold off their rivals without pushing too hard will help these drivers keep it clean. As the tires come up to temp, their available grip is changing, and the drivers that manage this transition best are likely to make progress through the field.
I'm looking forward to this one, Marco. Maybe we'll see a return to form for Adam in this outing in Great Britain.
As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at ASRL for making this all possible. Heroes one and all. It's a solid performance from Adam at the moment. He's holding his position and not getting too caught up in battles around him.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Adam just needs to bide his time and wait for the right opportunity.
As a former racing driver, Janet, how important is the relationship between a driver and their team during a race?
It's absolutely crucial, Marco. The team provides valuable information and support, helping the driver make the right decisions on track. A strong bond between the driver and the team can be the difference between winning and losing.
This is a thrilling moment in the race, with Adam in second defending his position with everything he's got. But Steady is relentless, and the gap is less than 0.2 seconds. It's anyone's position at this point. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds. Can Sketty close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Adam is closing in on Kevin Lekmansky.
This is where every inch counts. Adam is pushing hard to close the gap on Kevin. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
Things are heating up as Sketty tries to close the gap to Adam. I'm sure Kevin, hold on a second. Talk about pressure. Kevin Lekmansky is caught in the middle, feeling the heat from both Sketty and Adam. Sketty is running second, and trying to catch Adam. The battle for P2 is heating up as Kevin Lekmansky tries to catch Sketty in P2. Kevin Lekmansky needs to find some speed, or maybe get more consistent. Janet, he's just put in a slower lap than Sketty.
Hopefully Lekmansky can find some of that missing time and get it back.
The pressure is on as Sketty tries to catch up to Adam. Sketty is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Adam at the moment. Kevin Lekmansky is running third, and trying to keep up with Sketty.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Lekmansky needs to stay patient and wait for Sketty to make a mistake.
It looks like we might get a battle between Kevin Lekmansky and Sketty.
That's a great effort from Lekmansky. He'll need to keep up the pressure and see if he can make a move.
And we're back, where the drivers are showing us some incredible skills.
Indeed, Marco, it's always exciting to see these skilled drivers operating such fantastic machines on amazing tracks.
Simon of the Desert is looking for a way to close that gap to Kevin Lekmansky.
I would not be surprised to see him challenge for the position.
The gap between Simon of the Desert and Kevin Lekmansky is widening. It's now up to 1.1 seconds.
This is a frustrating situation for Simon, but he can't give up just yet. He'll need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Lekmansky.
Kevin Lekmansky is placed third at the moment, and hoping to keep his distance ahead of Simon of the Desert, who is 0.6 seconds behind. He's pulling away. Kevin Lekmansky is increasing the gap to Simon of the Desert.
It's really looking like Kevin is going to be tough to pass today. He's driving with real confidence and authority.
I don't think that's the fastest way around Goodwood. It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Simon of the Desert, as there is a big gap ahead.
It's not over until the checkered flag drops, and it's important to maintain concentration until you've made it to the finish line.
It looks like Simon of the Desert is making a move. The gap to Kevin Lekmansky is now down to 0.4 seconds. Sketty is placed second at the moment.
Yes, but Sketty has to keep his focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Simon of the Desert is on a mission, chasing Kevin Lekmansky, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
The gap is 0.5 seconds now. Simon is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Lekmansky.
Good news for Simon of the Desert. The gap to Kevin Lekmansky has decreased. It's now down to 0.4 seconds. We often hear drivers complaining about tire graining. Janet, can you explain what that means and how it affects car handling?
Graining occurs when small rubber particles roll up on the tire's surface, reducing grip and negatively affecting handling. It usually happens when the tires are not in their optimal temperature window, or when a driver is pushing too hard on a cold or overworked tire.
Wow, Kevin Lekmansky is really pushing hard to catch up to Sketty.
You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them valuable time and the position.
It's certainly not going to plan for Kevin Lekmansky right now, who is struggling to breaking up there. A brilliant maneuver from Kevin Lekmansky, who has just moved up the field.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
Oh, this is getting intense. Sketty needs to keep Simon of the Desert in his sights. It seems like Sketty is struggling. His last lap time was a bit off the pace of Simon of the Desert.
It will be interesting to see if Simon can keep outpacing Sketty.
Things are going according to plan for Kevin Lekmansky, who is currently second. Sketty seems to be putting the pressure on Simon of the Desert.
It looks like Sketty has the speed to make a move. I just hope he can do it cleanly.
Looking at the lap times, Sketty is not currently on pace with Simon of the Desert. Maybe he'll get a chance to see where to make up some time. It's all about consistency for Kevin Lekmansky, who is currently second.
Definitely Marco, but Kevin can't afford to get complacent. This race is going to require focus and intensity.
The pursuit is on. Sketty is closing the gap on Simon of the Desert, determined to claim B3.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Sketty needs to be careful not to overdo it.
The gap between Sketty and Simon of the Desert is getting smaller.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
A solid performance from Adam, who is holding down first.
Definitely, but he can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers gunning for that position, and Adam has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Sketty wants to close that gap with Simon of the Desert.
If you don't push the boundaries, you will never know where they are.
Sketty has just put in a faster lap than Simon of the Desert, so that's going to give him something to worry about.
As long as Sketty can maintain that consistency and pace, it will be interesting to see.
David Zahn is trying to catch up to Sketty. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
Anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Dave pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if he can do it again.
This is a thrilling battle as Simon of the Desert edges closer to Sketty in their fight for P3.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Simon needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
Simon of the Desert is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Sketty to 0.3 seconds. An impressive showing from Simon of the Desert, who has gained positions and left Sketty in the dust. Simon of the Desert has the pedal to the metal chasing Sketty.
And Simon is poised to capitalize on any mistake. It's just a matter of who cracks first.
Simon of the Desert needs to find some speed, or maybe get more consistent. Janet, he's just put in a slower lap than Sketty.
Hopefully Simon can find some of that missing time and get it back.
The action is heating up here as Sketty is in third, defending from Simon of the Desert, who is only 0.3 seconds away. Impressive driving from Sketty, who has managed to extend his lead over Simon of the Desert. It looks like Simon of the Desert will have to regroup and try to make up that lost ground.
That's a really strong performance from Shelby. He's not giving Simon any chances to catch up.
Look at the way the drivers are hugging those corners. It's like they're on rails.
Speaking of rails, did you know that the first racetrack was built on a railway in 1896? I bet those drivers were chugging along.
All joking aside, I bet they were. Things have come a long way since then, haven't they?
Definitely. It's amazing to think about the technology that goes into these cars now. I mean, they have more computing power than some countries.
It's looking good for Adam, sitting in first.
Absolutely. And he'll need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
That won't be ideal for Simon of the Desert. Simon of the Desert will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
That's right, Simon in fourth knows to push it to the limit to catch up. But Shelby is no slouch, and he's going to be pushing just as hard.
Hold the phone. Simon of the Desert has decided to pit. The tense breaking news, folks. Great driving from Shelby, who has just gained a place and moved up to third. Well, it doesn't look like Shelby is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Kevin Lekmansky.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
A strong showing from Adam, who is currently first. Oh no, Janet, look at this. Kevin Lekmansky is closing in on Adam. The gap is now just 8.7 seconds.
That's a worrying sign for Adam.
David Zahn is pushing to maintain the lead, while Simon of the Desert is working to close in and challenge for the position. It's not looking good for Simon of the Desert, who is still behind David Zahn, and the gap is increasing.
This is a tough situation for Simon. He'll need to find a way to pick up some speed and close that gap.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's...
Wait. Simon of the Desert has pulled into the pits. Kevin Lekmansky is placed third at the moment.
Yes, but Lekmansky has to keep his focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Hold the phone. What a move. Kevin Lekmansky has moved up to second. It's all about consistency for Adam, who is currently first.
That's right. Adam can't afford to make any mistakes or let up. Every point counts in this championship.
Impressive stuff from Adam, who has managed to pull away from Kevin Lekmansky, leaving him in choking in his exhaust fumes.
It's clear that Adam is dominating right now. He's making it very difficult for Kevin to catch up.
Shelby has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Kevin Lekmansky. I expect his only hope at this point is that Kevin makes an error.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Shelby is going to have to get more serious with practice to not get outclassed on the circuit.
It's game on now. Shelby has closed the gap to Kevin Lekmansky. It's now down to 4.1 seconds. Hey, Janet, you've had your fair share of races with little action. How did you handle the situation back in your racing days?
Well, Marco, patience is key in such scenarios. You need to stay focused and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes your way. It's like a game of chess at 200 miles per hour.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Skeddy trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Kevin Lekmansky. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
Absolutely. Skeddy in third will need to be patient and work carefully to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as he can't afford to take unnecessary risks and that might lead to an off or damaging their car.
A solid performance from Adam, who is holding down first.
Definitely, but he can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers gunning for that position, and Adam has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Some great driving from Adam, who has increased his lead over Kevin Lekmansky and is starting to put some distance between them.
Agreed, Marco. Superb driving there. If they keep this up, this race should be a real thrill ride.
You know, Janet, it's been a relatively quiet race so far.
That's right, Marco. The drivers seem to be pacing themselves and waiting for the right moment to make their move. It's like watching a slow dance.
Things are going according to plan for Adam, who is currently first.
Definitely, Marco. But Adam can't afford to get complacent. This race is going to require focus and intensity.
A strong showing from Kevin Lekmansky, who is currently second.
Absolutely. And he'll need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
Things are starting to get tense as Skeddy manages to close the gap to Kevin Lekmansky. It's now down to 5.0 seconds. It's a brilliant day for racing, and the drivers are putting on a show.
Absolutely. What a great race we are witnessing today. These drivers are giving it their all, and it's a thrill to watch them compete at this level.
They're really pushing themselves and their machines to the limit, and it's paying off with some incredible driving.
It's a pleasure to be here today, Marco. You really can't beat the excitement of a good race, especially one as competitive as this.
On the final lap now, what a win! This is a historic moment for Adam, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision. A nail-biting finish, but Kevin Lekmansky claims second place.
Strong work securing second place. Well done.
Well done to Skeddy for securing third place on the podium.
Fantastic result.
In fifth, it's Simon of the Desert. Coming in fourth, we have David Zahn. Stefano Amadei takes sixth. It's a beautiful day here in Great Britain, and the drivers are itching to get out on the track at Goodwood. Starting from pole position is the best possible outcome for David Zahn.
Zahn is sure to be excited at his prospects for this race.
Stefano Amadei has a great opportunity starting on the front row.
He can't let that advantage go to waste. He will need to stay focused and keep his eyes on the prize.
The third position is occupied by Simon of the Desert.
Desert is hoping for a strong result.
It's Kevin Lekmanski, sitting comfortably in fourth.
Kevin will be taking no prisoners today.
Taking the fifth spot is Sketty.
Let's see what Sketty can do.
We're seeing Adam in the sixth spot.
Adam will be ready to show what he's made of.
The green flag is out and the drivers are off. You know what, Janet? This is what it's all about.
The first lap can be chaotic, and avoiding any major incidents is key. Drivers need to be alert and ready to react to any sudden changes on the track.
Every lap is an opportunity for David Zahn to learn just a little bit more to shave a few tenths or hundredths off his times. The stewards will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one. Maybe Stefano Amadei was trying to play it safe, but he'll need to step on it to recover from this start.
This isn't the first time we've seen a driver start slow and then rally back. Let's see if Stefano can pull off a comeback.
The tensions are high, and no one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap. A great moment for Adam, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. Sketty is looking for an opportunity to get around Kevin Lekmanski.
I might have said this before, but dog, bone, you know the rest.
Oh, this is getting intense. Adam is just behind David Zahn.
These two are putting on a masterclass in precision driving. Every turn, every acceleration, calculated to perfection.
This is getting exciting. Steady is looking for any gap that might open up the position. Looks like Steady is really hitting those curbs aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer.
Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement Adam's legendary status. This is going to be a nail-biter. Kevin Lekmansky is defending for his life, but Steady is right there doing everything he can to force a mistake. Look at that. Steady is hot on the tail of Kevin Lekmansky.
The mental game is just as important here. Steady must keep his cool while putting pressure on Lekmansky.
Oh, this is getting intense. Kevin Lekmansky is just a few car lengths behind Adam. Steady is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift.
We'll have to wait to see if Steady can use the draft to his advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder his progress.
This one's going to be tough. Adam is getting his elbows out, and there may not be enough time left for Kevin Lekmansky to make a move. Steady is giving it his all, chasing down Kevin Lekmansky in P4.
Steady needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Lekmansky.
Wait. Oh dear, Stefano Amadei has had an incident. Hold on to your hats, folks. Adam is right on the heels of David Zahn, and we're in for a wild ride.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, and your racing rivals even closer. Looks like Adam is taking that advice to heart today.
Kevin Lekmansky is holding forth, but Steady is right on his tail. A commanding performance from Kevin Lekmansky, who has increased his lead over Steady, putting him firmly in his rear-view mirrors. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving.
I think Kevin Lekmansky is going to try and outbrake ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R as they cut. Breaking news, folks. Oh, the frustration must be building for David Zahn. He's just lost third position to Kevin Lekmansky, and he's going to have to work hard to get it back. Things are heating up as Steady tries to close the gap to David Zahn.
Steady is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curbs and hustling that ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R like a boss.
The race is really heating up. Kevin Lekmansky is hunting down Adam with everything he's got.
With just 0.5 seconds between them, Lekmansky will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
The pressure is on as Steady tries to catch up to David Zahn. This is where the race gets really interesting. Adam is closing in on Simon of the Desert.
Adam is looking to close the 0.4 second gap and make a pass.
The crowd is on its feet as Kevin Lekmansky chases down Adam through Ford Water. Hold on a second. Fantastic move from Kevin Lekmansky, who has just gained a position. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
A misjudgment by either driver could result in a close encounter of the tire barrier kind, and that's one handshake they'll want to avoid.
David Zahn, hold up, braking in front. A brilliant maneuver from David Zahn, who has just moved up the field.
You can't argue with results like that. Dave is really making his mark on this race.
We're starting to see who really has the pace now in this race as David Zahn is starting to climb all over the back of Kevin Lekmansky. Any closer and he may need to pop the boot.
It's an intense battle between two skilled drivers, and Lekmansky in second is doing everything he can to keep Dave in the rearview mirror. The slightest mistake could cost him the position.
The pursuit is on. David Zahn is closing the gap on Kevin Lekmansky, determined to claim P2.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Dave should use slipstreaming to his advantage and close the gap to Lekmansky.
It's an intense battle for position as Skeddy tries to outmaneuver David Zahn. This is edge of your seat racing. Stop the press. It's looking good for Skeddy, who has gained a place after passing David Zahn. Looks like David Zahn is really hitting those curves aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer.
Looks like we might have a great battle starting here between Kevin Lekmansky in third and David Zahn. It's been tense with a gap of only 0.4 seconds. This is a thrilling battle as David Zahn edges closer to Kevin Lekmansky in their fight for P3.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. David is really walking that fine line.
Oh, this is getting intense. Kevin Lekmansky is just a few car lengths behind Skeddy. Superb driving from Kevin Lekmansky, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Yes, Lekmansky is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
Every move counts now as David Zahn works to reel in Skeddy and overtake for P3.
It's a game of strategy now as Dave hunts down Skeddy. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers hold up, braking input. Great driving from Adam, who has just gained a place and moved up to fourth.
Impressive. Adam is really showing his skill and determination out there.
The pressure is on as David Zahn works on catching up to Skeddy. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes. Braking alert. What a move. Adam has moved up to third. The battle for P3 is heating up as David Zahn tries to catch Adam in P3.
The gap between them is now just over 0.5 seconds.
It's not going to plan for David Zahn, who is trailing behind Adam and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now. The drivers are really pushing their limits out there on the track.
It's like they're trying to outrun the laws of physics. But we all know that's impossible, or is it? I mean, we're a couple of computerized robots commenting on a race. Anything can happen.
Bad jokes notwithstanding, you have a point there. And speaking of pushing limits, these cars are breaking records left and right.
They're so fast, it's like they're breaking the sound barrier, or at least the speed limit.
I hope the police aren't watching. Things don't seem to be going Kevin Lekmansky's way in this race, as that's a big gap he'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. David Zahn is giving it his all chasing down Adam in P3.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Zahn needs to stay patient and wait for Adam to make a mistake.
The gap between David Zahn and Adam is growing. It's now up to 1.3 seconds. The race is really heating up. Kevin Lekmanski is hunting down David Zahn with everything he's got.
This is where every inch counts. Lekmanski is pushing hard to close the gap on Zahn. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
Breaking update. Fantastic move from Kevin Lekmanski, who has just gained a position.
Absolutely. Lekmanski is really putting on a clinic out there, and he's making it look easy.
Things are heating up as David Zahn tries to close the gap to Kevin Lekmanski. David Zahn appears to be losing ground on Kevin Lekmanski. He'll need to pick up the pace a bit. Hold up, breaking info. A great moment for David Zahn, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. It looks like Kevin Lekmanski is in control. He's ahead of David Zahn by over a second, and it doesn't look like he's going to be challenged anytime soon. The pressure is on as Shelby tries to catch up to David Zahn.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. Shelby is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with David.
Shelby is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with David Zahn at the moment. Shelby is looking to take advantage of that slipstream being so close to David Zahn. That's gonna provide the extra speed to challenge for the position.
If Shelby gets any closer to the back of Zahn, then one of them is gonna need some lube if they want to take this further.
Things are heating up as Shelby closes in on David Zahn. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for David Zahn as there is a big gap ahead.
Zahn certainly isn't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Lekmanski.
It looks like David Zahn is making a move. The gap to Kevin Lekmanski is now down to 0.5 seconds.
This is what racing is all about, hard-fought battles with as much determination as respect, between friends and enemies alike.
That's not a small gap, but Shelby has what it takes to challenge for the position.
Zahn is not going to give up his position easily.
It's certainly not going to plan for Shelby right now, who is struggling to keep up with David Zahn.
It's not over yet, but Shelby needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to Dave.
Well, it doesn't look like David Zahn is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Kevin Lekmanski.
It's not over until the checkered flag drops, and it's important to maintain concentration until you've made it to the finish line.
The gap between David Zahn and Kevin Lekmanski is widening. It's now up to 1.3 seconds.
This is where the mental toughness of Dave comes into play. He'll need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way.
Fantastic racing on show here today, and it's not just the top drivers who are impressing us. Even the drivers at the back of the pack are putting up a good fight, battling it out for every position.
It's a testament to the level of competition at ASRL. Even the smallest mistake can cost you valuable seconds, or even lead to a crash. But these drivers are up to the challenge, and they're giving it their all. It's clear that ASRL really is the place to be for top quality racing.
David Zahn has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Kevin Lekmansky. I expect his only hope at this point is that Kevin makes an error. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure Skeddy is going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. He's not giving up without a fight. It looks like we might get a battle between Skeddy and David Zahn.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. A driver that stays calm and focused is more likely to come out on top.
Things don't seem to be going Kevin Lekmansky's way in this race, as that's a big gap he'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Lekmansky is going to have to get more serious with practice to not get outclassed on the circuit.
The drivers are getting faster as they settle into their cars and get used to the conditions, with Kevin Lekmansky just putting in his best lap so far with a 1 minute. We are used to seeing some hard-fought but clean racing here at ASRL. I'm expecting to see nothing different here today as this race unfolds. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Kevin Lekmansky, who is currently in B3.
Adam is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace.
It looks like Stefano Amadei is pushing hard to catch up to Skeddy. It's not looking good for Stefano Amadei, who is still behind Skeddy, and the gap is increasing.
Stefano needs to focus and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way. If he can close the gap down, he may be able to bring the fight to Skeddy.
This will require some expert driving from Kevin Lekmansky. Adam is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second.
We know Adam isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Lekmansky is going to have to take it.
The gap between Kevin Lekmansky and Adam is getting smaller.
Exactly what Lekmansky needed. He can't afford to lose any more ground to Adam.
What do you think, Janet? Are there any specific factors that could lead to a driver losing concentration during a race?
There are several factors, Marco. Fatigue, stress, changing track conditions, or even issues within the team can all contribute to a lapse in concentration. It's essential for drivers to stay mentally resilient and adapt to these challenges.
The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Kevin Lekmansky needs to find a way to close the gap.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination.
Stefano Amadei is trying to catch up to Skeddy. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
It's going to be tough for Stefano, as Skeddy seems to have found his rhythm.
Stefano Amadei is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Skeddy to 26.1 seconds.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
I'm curious, Janet, can you tell us about any pre-race rituals you had when you were racing?
Of course, Marco. Before every race, I would listen to a specific playlist of songs to help me get in the zone. I also had a lucky pair of socks that I would wear during races. It may sound silly, but those little rituals help me feel prepared and focused.
The gap between Adam and Kevin Lekmansky is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Adam to even allow Kevin to get a look in.
Lekmansky certainly isn't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Adam.
It's like Simon of the Desert has saved all his energy for this final stretch.
He's going to need to make some more room on that trophy shelf back home.
It's all over. Simon of the Desert has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of his game right now. Some might say that second place is the first loser, but Adam certainly doesn't see it that way. He put in a phenomenal effort and should be proud of his podium finish. What a race from Kevin Lekmansky, showing his skill and determination for a great third place finish.
Great job bringing it home.
Taking fourth and fifth is David Zahn and Sketty. Followed by Stefano Amadei in sixth.